Welcome to Jerseys for Social Justice, ETSU Athletics video series highlighting our black student athletes and coaches and their stories of being black in America. Our guest today is Atlantis Warren from track and field. She is a captain on the track and field team, also the Student Athlete Advisory Committee president. Atlantis, thanks so much for taking some time to talk about this incredibly important issue with us.
Thanks for having me.
On leadership, those are some big titles, Student Athlete Advisory Committee president and being a captain. There's obviously an inherent leadership there as well. What does it mean to you to be a leader?
It just means that that's someone who goes out and is among the people, not necessarily at the top of the front, but among the other people, and hearing what they have to say and being the voice for those who can't find themselves to speak up or have like a sense of they don't feel as if their voice is important. But I'm like, a leader is someone who's like, yes, your voice is important, and yes, it's going to be heard.
So on this issue, with your definition of leadership, leadership is that much more important. Social justice and equality, and of course being anti-racist, as we all strive to be. What does it mean to you to be a leader on social justice and equality? Do the voices have to be that much louder because of the history behind this?
Yes, I would say. When I think of social justice, it's equality amongst all, and even though it looks like it's impossible because it has yet to be fulfilled today, I think of someone who is a leader in social justice as someone who is willing to fight for what they truly believe in and die on the hill of which they stand on.
I'm going to ask you to lead me for a little bit. With leadership experience, I'm sure that'll be a second nature to you. What is the biggest issue facing the black community, in your opinion, in America right now?
I feel like it's so in-depth that it's everything. It's so many layers to it. You have the Latino community, you have the white community, the African community, the Asian community, and even the black community who seems to be a target against black people. There's just so many issues that when you unpack one layer, you open a can of worms, and it doesn't seem as if you can just fix that one without having to tackle the other. And when the black community is being hit from so many sides, it's hard to just focus on one issue.
One issue that's been in the spotlight over the last number of months and really over the last 5, 6, 7 years with the rise of social media and technology is police brutality. I was watching a documentary about Amadou Diallo, who in New York in 1999 was shot by police 19 times on his own doorstep and shot at 41 times, unarmed, just trying to enter his house. There was a sign in that documentary that said, "Who will protect us from the protectors?" A message I think that rings true today with members of the black community being killed at 3 times the rate of white people in this country and incarcerated at 6 times the rate. That message, who will protect us from the protectors, does that resonate with you?
That saying doesn't necessarily resonate with me. It's more so the numbers, because the first and foremost is people are being killed by the police. Police brutality is the problem. Even though more black people are being killed by police, the thing is, black people have been seeing this since the beginning of time, and they're tired of it. So that's why you hear, Black Lives Matter, stop killing us. And second off, you also need to know the history of police department. The police department was never meant to protect and serve black people. It derived from slave patrols and night watchers. And so it's hard to say, oh, well, who's going to protect us from the protectors when they were never set to protect us?
I'd like you to expand on that point about Black Lives Matter a bit, because it seems like the message of Black Lives Matter has been twisted and conveniently used by a lot of different demographics to make this seem like it's against white people and is somehow oppressing members of the white community. Doesn't seem like, to me, that is the message of Black Lives Matter. Can you expand and talk a little bit more about what it means to you?
When I say Black Lives Matter, I'm not talking about the group that is run for political use or whatever. I'm talking about my life, my sister's life. The person that's walking down the street, Ahmaud Arbery, people who go about their days on a daily basis. Black people just want the right to be able to just be. And it doesn't seem as if we have that. And it's just hard to see, like the other day I saw people protesting downtown, and I assume that's because of protesters was ran over. And then also you had the 911 operator who didn't even seem to care, from what the article that was released online that I saw the other day. So it's just, when I say Black Lives Matter, I truly mean Black Lives Matter, not an organization, because black people aren't an organization, they're people.
Doesn't seem like too much to ask just to be able to be in this world.
Exactly.
You're a leader in a number of different ways, as we talked about. Also on social media, you oftentimes lead the message amongst our student athlete community and are one of the more vocal ones in our student athlete community. I'm going to read you something that you retweeted what would be about a month ago now. I don't know what is more difficult. This was tweeted from Shannon Houston. Being colored or being a woman. Most days, I'm happy to be both, but the world keeps interrupting, and I am sick of being interrupted. Can you talk about what those interruptions are like and what your experience has been as a black woman in society so far in your life?
Yes, I just also want to clarify that that quote came from a fictional character on Lovecraft Country. Her name is Ruby. And what led her up to that point was she went into this store to apply for a job that she was overqualified for. And when she walked in, she saw that there was already a black person there working, and this is during the segregated times. And she knew instantly that she wouldn't be able to get that position because there was already one black person on board. And come to find out, she found out that the black lady that they hired was not even as qualified as her. And so it's like, when I think of that and how it resonates to me is I see diversity boards and they might have one black person or one black man, one black woman, and instantly you're like, oh, well, my shots are taken because people are only being hired to say that they have it on there. At least that was how it was in that scene. And it still resonates today because it still happens. And I can't say that I've dealt with anything because I've been in the bubble. You know, like all my life I've been sheltered, and even while I'm here as a student athlete, I'm still sheltered. But as I see in my time of being out this bubble is coming near, it's difficult because you know that that's the reality of things. And no matter how much your parents decide to keep you in a bubble, once you graduated from college and you're out there in that real world, you're competing against other people who may not be as qualified but still get the job before you.
Our last topic to round out our conversation on leadership. Being a leader, help those that may not understand and may not have experienced racism, don't know the experience of being black, white advocates, people that want to help the black community. What can they do? How can they lead? And as a leader yourself, I know you know the effective ways to lead. What can they do from their point of view to be at the front of this conversation?
Well, when I answer this, I'm not the voice for all black people. I'm just a voice amongst other black people. And what I may feel is what I may feel that would work for an allyship for someone who is white or Latino or anything may not work for the next black person because they have a different way of seeing things. And for me, it's just educating yourselves, putting yourself at the forefront, correcting those around you. You know, that's the first step. And when you make the first step, it won't be too hard to make more steps after that.
Atlantis, these are the most important conversations we're going to have all year in ETSU athletics, and obviously what is a very difficult time, not only in collegiate athletics, but in our country, that you've taken time to help us, educate us, lead us on this conversation is something that's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.